Veteran Podcast. Thank you for your service.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Bulletproof Veteran Podcast. Very happy to have on the show today, Matt Snyder. Okay. He is the founder of DFQVR. And you might say, well, what is that? He's basically starting up virtual runs and rucks. And he's got a bunch of different challenges that you can do. You can go on the website and see all this stuff. But he's nice enough to come on the show and talk to us. And as a guy who's done some Tough Mudders and mud races and obstacle races myself, I'd love to hear about all this stuff. So, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So we really got into this. This actually started back last July of 19. I was stuck in a rut. I had great companies. I have great friends. I have great family. It wasn't a depression thing. It was I have no passion for anything anymore. I've dumped it into my companies. I've dumped it into my family. It's shown its rewards. And I was at a baseball game and I was telling my friend about this, and, he was making jokes about midlife crisis, things like that. And then the next day, I saw a picture on Instagram of Brian McCann, the catcher for the Braves, screaming out to the outfielder about this amazing play. And that picture, I got a screenshot of it and I sent it to my friend. I was like, that's what I'm missing. I'm missing that I need something athletic in my life again.
A little bit of fire with it too.
Yeah, I gotta scream to somebody again for some reason. So I Googled really hard physical challenge and a Spartan race popped up.
Okay.
And I thought, all right, I'm going to do it. There's one in October. It's July. I went to the gym. I started training. And while I'm training for it, this was for a sprint. This is a 5K, 25-ish obstacle. And I'm thinking this is going to be like, this is my world. This is my unicorn. Like, if I can beat this, I can beat anything. But as I'm training for it, I'm thinking, well, if I can do this one, and if I like this as much as I think I'm going to, I want to go for the super the next month. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I'm training for a 10K, 35-ish obstacle, but still going for this sprint. And sure enough, I did the sprint and I loved it. So I'm already in that mindset. Let's go for the super. While I'm now training for the super, I'm thinking, well, the beast is the next month. I could get a trifecta. After never doing this, I could have a trifecta in a year. Well, I did the super and it was really, really hard. Mm-hmm. I did not train properly. I didn't hydrate. I didn't eat properly. It took me way too long. I'm embarrassed of my time, but I went back. I trained harder. I went for the beast in Central Florida for my trifecta, got it. And I felt like, that's it. I'm king of the world now. I'm an endurance god in my own head.
Right, of course.
So I buy the season pass. I'm ready to do like 6 trifectas for 2020. Knock out 2 races in Jacksonville, go up to Greek Peak, get that one done. That was amazing, by the way. If anyone has never done that, definitely try and do that if they wind up offering it again. And after Greek Peak, COVID hits. And there go all my plans for any trifecta.
Season passes now, basically.
Pass is useless.
It's an email in an email box. That's all it is right now.
Yep. So I had on my radar, Spartan does hurricane heats. Mm-hmm. And they are 4-hour hurricane heats. So it's this like 4-hour endurance event. It's kind of team oriented. And that I had signed up for one of those and it got canceled as well. And then all of a sudden in one of the Facebook groups, they said, we're bringing it back. Now I'm based in Atlanta and it was about an hour and a half south of Atlanta that they were bringing hurricane heats back. And I'm like, well, I haven't been training all this time for nothing. I'm going to go do this thing. And it's nothing like a Spartan race. You're thrown into a lake and doing hydro burpees. And the 4 hours very team-based, kind of no man left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a blast. And I thought, well, if this was fun, maybe the 12-hour would be fun. Because it really was fun. It was work. It was, it pushed me a little, but it was fun. I signed up for a 12-hour and it destroyed me. I messed up on one of the missions that we had to do where it wound up turning into us having to do a yoke carry.
Okay.
And I had filled up my sandbags way too much. They were hanging off of we have 7-foot PVC pipes. And it was hanging off of them, like drapesing around, smashing my knees. It was 1.5 miles down and 1.5 miles back. We had to carry this thing, plus our ruck, destroyed me. But I did it. We're about an hour and a half-ish from the end. And then, if anyone's ever done these, Andy Hardy was leading all of these. And she says, look, we're about to do a mountain sprint. And this was a mountain. People don't think Georgia has mountains. It has mountains.
Right.
She says, if you don't think you can do it in an hour, don't even bother. Now, she just told us how many points we had to graduate. And I was under where we should be at this point. So I took her aside and I'm like, I'm tired. I don't know if I can do this in an hour.
Under an hour.
And she goes, you better fucking win.
Simple.
Okay. Well, I don't know why that lit a fire, but that lit a fire. And I wound up getting second place, courtesy of a couple of friends of mine who, held back. They easily could have smoked me, but they were nice enough. But the fact that I was even able to run with them, it opened up my mind to limitless. So I squeaked by, I graduated, I felt amazing. And that just pushed me to train even harder. And I'm looking everywhere for things to do to train. I'm buying sandbags, I'm doing apps. The standard gym workouts just aren't working. And then again, with COVID, every gym was closed for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just throwing sandbags out. I built a whole obstacle course in my backyard, the beater, the twister, this is when I wanted to do all the races. And now I'm thinking, all right, the races are fun, but this endurance stuff. So I did another 12-hour because I wanted redemption. And it is such an amazing feeling, both for you and the people that you've kind of gone through this evolution with. Like all the same people are at these things, and then some new people pop in. But I felt so amazing during that next 12-hour. I was like, this is my event now. And I ran it. Did another 4-hour just to kind of keep loose because Spartan has something called H3X, which is a 24-hour endurance hurricane heat. And it's held in 6 countries, one location in 6 countries at the exact same time. And you're doing the exact same movements at that time. So if we're doing a burpee mile, they're doing a burpee mile.
Very cool.
All throughout the country. It's very cool. And the one thing I really want to give Spartan credit for is they're very creative with these. These are not just, pound you into the ground PT, which has its place. But they're very creative. And that is where a lot of the DFQVR stuff comes into play. We're not just, ground and pound, we're going to kill you. There's a lot of creativity that goes into these events. Mm-hmm. So now, as opposed to what was the sprint being my unicorn, now this 24-hour, I've been told by many people, your body can't handle that. It's not supposed to do that. There's no way you can handle it. And it was heavy. It was 45-pound plates and then all your gear. And then we had a 56-pound sandbag on top of that pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, that's not for the faint of heart, to say the least. Because even the world's toughest mudder, you're not the last one that I saw, you're not adding any additional weight. There's no ruck and there's no additional weight unless it's part of an actual obstacle.
Right.
So
this was get your ruck, get your gear, we had one evolution where it was pair off into teams and you're doing 2 laps of a 3-mile ruck for time with the, so we got about a 60-pound back, a 56-pound bag, and you're just going. And it was in Conyers where they had the Olympics in 96. And this was the mountain bike course. So this was not like some little trail that you ran through the woods. This was a trail.
Right.
So I felt amazing through that one. I learned how to pace myself, and this is with the help of a lot of people in this community. This endurance and race community is absolutely amazing. And that's kind of what kept sucking me back in. I was like, I want to go see my friends again, go play in the woods. Mm-hmm. And so just, feeding off of these people, and we got very lucky. The US got very lucky that our start time was 8 p.m. So we were fresh going into the night.
Right.
And then sun hit for the last 12 hours. It was like, oh, all right, new day, we're fine. Of course, it ran 26 hours, not 24 hours. So it became cold and dark again. But after that, I was like, I'm addicted to this now in a good way. But I'm looking for more ways to train, and I want more things on the calendar. And I saw a couple of these, like, kind of, I don't know, there were some interesting virtual events that were online that I saw, and they weren't really doing it for me. They seemed kind of gimmicky.
Okay.
So I decided, well, let me take what I've learned with these hurricane heats and what I've heard about with, some of the Go Ruck events, and let's combine this and really make it into something awesome. And I had an old business partner that I reached out to, and he's like, I'm in, let's do this. And so he's not on the endurance side of this. He's on the business side. I was like, don't worry, I'll go do the events. You can stay at the desk. And so we wound up, it took a little while to get it rolling. I had been training for H3X for the 24-hour. And, I really wanted to focus a lot of time on that. But once that was accomplished, it was heads down. And January 4th, we launched. And here we are.
Yeah. And you guys are moving right along. There's already a bunch of different events on your websites, including one that you literally just launched. Was it?
Absolutely.
So just this week?
This morning.
Okay.
Midnight on the 12th. So we had 3 events that we planned. There's the burpee mile, which is just do a burpee and you do a frog jump, and you do that for a mile. You can do it around a lap, a track. You can be a weirdo and do it down the street, whatever floats your boat.
Right. However you do it.
It'll kick your butt. I have something called a 5K 2X. So you do a weighted 5K as fast as you can. As soon as you're done with that 5K, strip it. You have to beat your time by 25%. And then we have puzzle. And this is one where I pulled this in the creativity from like hurricane heat. So you need a 100-piece puzzle. You run a half a mile down and back. You have 10 minutes to complete your puzzle. If you don't complete your puzzle, you have to add 10 pounds to a half mile down and back. 10 more minutes to beat your puzzle. You keep repeating that until you hit 50 pounds, and then you can start coming back down in weight, because some people are not going to be good at puzzles. And
you're going to have people passed out on the side of roads. It's not good.
Right. So that's one that it's like, all right, it's Saturday. I want to train, and I'm tired of just lifting weights and throwing a sandbag around or running the trail. It just gives you something new, and it works on your mental game, which if you're doing any of these tier 1 events, whether they're the 24-hour hurricane heats, the Go Ruck heavies, they have a double heavy coming up this weekend. You need a strong mental game. So right. Solve a puzzle while you're trying to run, with 50 pounds on your back. That'll keep you in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that mental side of it, people don't realize it. I did my first Tough Mudder was the Mount Snow Tough Mudder. And I did not realize how much more difficult it was going to be because it was up the mountain and then back down the mountain. Up the mountain wasn't the worst part. Down the mountain through the rocks and trying to keep your ankles strong and trying to stay now, because now you're tired coming down the mountain and you've already done a bunch of obstacles. You're cold. It was in May. There was still snow on the ground. They're blasting you with a fire hose. So you're wet, you're cold, you're not happy. And all it takes is one slip and you're tumbling down these, it's a mountain. So, I mean, you're skiing down it. So you can imagine what it's like trying to run down it. You have to be mentally sharp through all of that. And that was a 12-mile. So can imagine these 24 hours, same idea. When you get to that last hour, you got to be on.
Yeah. And it really is. I think the H3X 24-hour that we did, they estimated somewhere around 50 to 60 miles we covered. Oof. With that weight. And then it was like strip all the weight, go do a 10K really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. But you just keep doing it. It's very strange how you just, and there are people who dropped, and that's where sometimes it's just not your day and sometimes it really is. I actually, I went and just did pre-selection through Ruck.
Okay.
And it was the first event I've dropped from. And it burns every day that I dropped for such a weak reason. I was cold. They kept throwing us in the ocean in the beginning. It was December 5th is when it started. My birthday is December 6th. It was a 24-hour event. I wanted to pass this on my birthday as like this huge present to myself. Yeah, about 5 hours in, I was done. They knew exactly what to do. They got you really wet and cold, walked us back to the car. And I'm thinking, all right, as long as I can warm up on this Ruck back, we're cool. And I didn't. I couldn't shake the shakes. And I see my car and I see a friend of mine out there and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Mentally, I broke so easily on that one because I knew what was coming. They hadn't even started yet.
Right.
We weren't even heavy yet. This was just some water. And I was like, yeah, I'm not prepared for this. So that was also, pre-selection, this is a nice lead into what you were saying about these new events that are launched. We have something called the Legend Series. And this isn't some guy who's run a Tough Mudder or a Spartan or some, woman who's done this or that. You have to be a badass to fall into the legend category. So our first legend that we launched was Rachel Lotes, who just completed pre-selection. Her number was 27. The 27 was the event that she just created. She's done multiple death race finishes, team assessment through Ruck, pre-selection. And she's an absolute monster when it comes to these events. So I said, let's do something. You create the event, you can create the patch. And, she's known for this messy bun that she has at all of these events. So it's this perfect patch of like her eyebrows up to her head with the bun. And then it's just, her event is called the 2-7. And it will absolutely crush anyone, male, female. It's an absolute beast. It's a 45-pound pack with an 80-pound sandbag, and you're doing 27 reps of a lot of different exercises. And it will destroy you. We have some people who are posting pictures of it that are completing it, and they look wrecked.
Just wrecked.
And then I got really fortunate as well. So the event that just dropped midnight on the 12th, that's called Operation Virtual Commando. And that is there's a company called Green Beret Fitness, who does live events. And I met Greg, the owner of that, at a 24-hour Ruck Cloverleaf event down in Florida. And we had a blast, doing all the evolutions that we had to do. And we were discussing it, and he didn't have an interest in creating a virtual aspect to his events. He wanted to just be live. And I said, well, you're only, here right now. What about the guy in California or the UK? He's actually a special forces from the UK.
Okay.
And which is why he falls under the legend category.
Yeah, you get a little bit there.
he has some street cred.
Yeah.
So we moved forward, and he found an event that he felt was worthy to be virtual and earn a patch. And so we launched that. It was actually his birthday. January 12th is his birthday, and that's when he wanted to launch it. And it's been, as much as a digital item can fly off the shelves, it's been flying off the shelves. I mean, it's a really cool event. It's not so much about the PT or a WOD. It's do 30 miles. You pick the weight. You do whatever you want to do, or you can do the commando version, which is 32 plus pounds. In 8 hours, you have to do the 30 miles over hilly terrain. That's what the commando version is for SF there.
Okay.
So that one just popped off today, and it's jumping.
That's great. That's great. Now, in your own opinion, why do you think these endurance races, alternative type races are so popular? And they've been popular for quite some time now. But it just seems like they keep growing in popularity. More and more people want to do them. I run regular 5Ks, 10Ks. I'm training right now for a half marathon. I'm hoping to actually have a marathon done by the end of the year, but not everybody wants to do that. But these races, like when you go to a Tough Mudder or a Spartan race, especially the sprint, say for the Spartan sprint, you have all types of people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at the Tri-State Tough Mudder, there was a guy, this was years ago, but there was a guy in BDSM clothing, leather, the whole deal, with a skinny keg strapped to his back, and it had beer in it because he was pouring beer for people. Now, when he jumped in the ice bath, which is the first obstacle, and he realized that the keg floated, that was a problem for him. But besides that, you see people from all walks of life. Everybody's having a blast. It's costume parties. Where's Waldo? This, that, the other thing. Do you have any kind of idea why you think this is so popular compared to maybe just going out and just running?
Well, I think it gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit. But, when you do the open category, like you're talking about, where there's people in costumes, and, I've seen people in the T-Rex costumes and Superman, and, some of these people, they're in fantastic shape. And this is just a way to change things up for them. Mm-hmm. They go out, they swing on some monkey bars and, do some wall climbs, whatever else they need to, you're jumping in ice pits. And it's just something different than I'm going to run from A to B on the road, and I get my t-shirt and I'm done. These races, they're productions. You show up and there's music pumping and there's a hype man, and the first thing you do is you're on your belly, crawling under barbed wire, and it will cut you.
Yes, it will.
Oh, even though I'm here having fun, I'm bleeding now.
Uh-huh.
And it's like a little wake up call to life, as opposed to just, I'm going to get out there and run my trail or run the road again. And there's those people that stop there. And then there's the people that say, well, I'll do age group or try and get into the elite group. And then there's this whole endurance world on top of that. Not saying that these races aren't endurance based, but when you start talking about 4, 12, 24, 48-hour events, where it's heavy and it's miles, there's something wrong with us,
Right.
I'm not sure what it is, but
yeah.
It's like the whole time through you're smiling and you're thinking, I paid to do this. And the moment it's done, you're like, and where do I pay again?
Yeah.
Like, sign me up again. And that's kind of that. Again, that's another reason why DFQVR exists, is you can't do an event like this every week. Both from a body perspective, like you just can't keep recovering from 24-hour events and 12-hour events over and over again. At least at my age, I'm 44 now, and this stuff, it starts to wear on you.
Yeah, I'm 40, and my training is very different than it was, say, my first Tough Mudder when I was 30. you know.
Well, yeah, you're like rubber then.
Yeah, I didn't care.
No.
Yeah.
So when I started looking at what was out there, there wasn't very much out there. And I thought, well, if I can consume someone's Saturday with something fun, they know it's coming in the mail. They get a cool patch. It's a unique workout that they can do. And it keeps it on the calendar, and we're releasing progressively harder events as well. So you may, maybe you do the 5K 2X because it's hard, but it's not hard. But that's in preparation for doing Rachel's the 2.7 because that's going to destroy you. So you buy that one and you let that one sit on your calendar. Like, all right, next month I'm going for that. I have a month to train for that. And so with that mindset, we are actually going to be releasing subscription models very shortly, which will have different levels of intensity. So it's for the people who just want to get off the couch, and you may look at that group of a subscription and just say, I'm way above that caliber.
Right.
I need to run a mile a day. But some people really do. And I love those people. It's been amazing. Where are you located?
Out of New York, Long Island.
Okay. So everyone's been getting these cold fronts lately.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm down in Atlanta, and when it gets below 30, we think it's, end of times here. And it was amazing. I went out the other day for a run on the trail and I saw all different types of people out there running. It was just after New Year's. And I'm thinking, all right, this is everyone's New Year's resolution right now. It's 19 degrees out and they're busting their butts on this trail. And I'm like, and they did not look like they should be out there right then.
Right.
It looked like they didn't want to be out there. But they were. And I love seeing that. So we will definitely have the entry level, and then we'll have the progressively harder to get you ready for, or at least help get you ready for some of these, tier 1 events or whatever level you're looking to get into. If you just want to do some toughs and heavies or some, basics and some hurricane heats, or just keep running obstacle course races, Savage, Spartan, whoever. Always having that thing pushing you, it's a great mental game.
Yeah.
And there's something about having that reward of the patch, because you can definitely log on to our site right now. You can look at all the workouts and say, got it, I'm going to do them.
Right.
Okay, and that's cool too. Hey, at least you're moving.
Right.
The patch is for you. It gives you something, as this community grows as well. Like we have a lot of rucking groups, and they're incorporating this into their like Saturday rucks or whatever. So they all get a new patch for it, and they get to show it off. And then all of a sudden someone shows up with, an Operation Virtual Commando, and it's like, whoa, you upped your game while we were gone, or
right.
Does the 2.7. So it's going to be interesting watching that evolution. I'm excited to watch our community grow from, they started this entry level subscription, and a year from now they're training for a tier 1 event. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you're spot on with having some type of event or something on the calendar to work towards that helps with your everyday training. Because if I don't have that, I get very lackadaisical with my daily exercise because there's no reason I have to do it. I should do it, but there's no reason I have to do it. Knowing that I already put my hard-earned dollars down on the table and I bought something and now it's on the calendar, I got to do it this day. Now all of a sudden I'm like, well, I don't want to waste my money. I got to be ready for that. And then there's the competitive side of me that goes, well, now not only do I have to be ready, but I want to do really good at it. So having that target helps with just your regular training. That is so true. Like I said, getting ready for the half marathon, just knowing that that's out there, I know I have to run because I won't be ready.
Absolutely.
I won't. I will fail. Or I'll be the guy turning in a 4-hour half marathon time. And I don't want to be that guy. There's nothing wrong with that guy. If that's the best you can do, great. You just did something that 90% of people aren't doing on that Saturday. But I want to do better than that. I want to do better. So, speaking, go ahead.
Out there when it's cold, it was cold today, and after I dropped from pre-selection, I was really mad at myself because I broke so easily. It was too easy to quit. And I was actually speaking with Rachel, who was only one of 5 that finished, and 4 that actually patched. And she was telling me about her trainer. So I immediately reached out to her trainer, and I'm like, help me. You got to get me here. I mean, this guy's amazing. Rob Barger, if anyone has heard of him, he's incredible. And so he's got me doing, bear crawls with sandbag drags. And it's 20 degrees out, and I'm dragging this thing back and forth with my dog running all around me. But I know, I have team assessment coming up in May, which is a 48-hour Go Ruck event, and it is going to destroy people.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think it's a little cold, it's a little hot, I'm tired, you think, well, how are you going to be 40 hours into this thing, 36 hours into this thing? You're out here in your own comfortable conditions right now. It's a little chilly. So having that, and then, I own the company, and I put these things on my schedule because they're hard.
Right.
So it gets you in that movement of, I don't want to do 27 more of these repetitions that, for Rachel's event. Well, if I do pre-selection again, I'm gonna have to do about 270 of those things. So how about I go do the 27?
Right. Get out there and do it.
Get out there and do it. And it helps when, I hate to say this, but it helps when you put a little bit of funds out there. It's like the gym membership. If I pay for your gym membership, you never go. If you pay for it, you're like, I'm paying for it, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So we give you, as opposed to just saying, here's a workout for, X dollars, you get something for it. We throw in some cool swag in there. You get your stickers, you get some extra patches, whatever else. But it's that idea of like, well, I paid a couple of bucks for this thing. I'm going to earn this, and it's up to you to really earn it. And I'm so excited to see everyone post up there, whether it's the puzzle that they created or, just how beat down they look or how excited they are when they beat their 5K by 25%.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be incredible.
Yeah. It's that instant kind of reward outside of just the patch and stuff like that. But when you have somewhat of a community around it, and you can see what other people are doing, and then compare yourself to it and be like, hey, I did great look at my time. Or like you said, I hit my 25%. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that, or I did the puzzle after 4 tries up and down, not 10, because I thought it was going to take me 10.
And that was one of the things that I was very clear about with my partner. I've noticed a lot of these other online, communities, they all have leaderboards. And I said right off the bat, no leaderboards. Mm-hmm. This isn't about me beating you. I don't care if I can beat you. There's every level of athlete out there. I want you to beat you. You're always at the top of your leaderboard because you set the bar and you need to beat that. I want you to beat you every time. I mean, DFQ, don't fucking quit.
Right.
Going. And if you can push yourself up and get rid of that voice that says it's too heavy, it's too hard, it's too hot, it's too cold, just do it. So I eliminated all leaderboard ideas right off the bat. And some people really love that competition feel. And to me, I say, compete with yourself. Throw your pictures up, throw your times up, brag. That's what the community is about. Look what we did together as a community. But it doesn't have to be me versus you. It's me with you.
Yeah. There doesn't have to be a podium.
Right.
There doesn't have to be a podium. Yeah. You guys have really kind of set something up that's unique. And I'm kind of wondering what your idea is for somebody new to this. What do you recommend? How do they get involved as far as getting started with some training so that maybe they are ready for one of your first tier events? You know what I mean? So introductory tier, say, I don't know what event you would recommend as a first timer? And then what would you say a good training regimen would be for that? What style of training, how to get ready for it?
So I would suggest, if you're truly entry level and you want to jump in right now with what we have live, something like the 5K 2X.
Okay.
It's gonna push you. You know, you're gonna have to walk some of it, and that's fine. Get your baselines. But once we release the, we'll call it the Get in Shape subscription, that is specifically what that's going to be geared for. Is
okay.
Getting off the couch. Let's get you moving. Let's get some blood flowing. Get a little bit of strength. As far as training for these events, depending on where you're going to play, in what level, calisthenics, any type of sandbag workout, I absolutely love. I mean, weights are always great as well. Running. I honestly, I think the best piece of workout equipment that I own is my I have 3 sandbags. I made a 60, I have an 80, and 120. And they will destroy you. Whether it's farmer carries, around the world, dragging them, throwing them on your back and just running for a little bit. It's the most versatile thing that you can do so much with. So I would definitely suggest, anyone, if you're limited on funds, because they're not super expensive either.
Right.
And right now, good luck finding workout equipment, but you can find a sandbag.
Yeah.
Throw $100 into it, and it will be a game changer with the amount of workouts that you can do. Whoever invented that sandbag with all the handles, genius, and I thank them, because it's really what I do every day.
Yeah, I recently had some medical trouble, so I had to pause on a workout I was doing, but I was doing the 365 Self Prep Academy. They and their whole middle section of it is sandbag work.
Yeah.
You get in and you do some basic weight stuff. And then after you get your baselines with those weight exercises, then they start throwing in like what you're talking about, the bear crawl with it tied to your waist, all this other stuff. And so they're big fans of it. And, I like their program. It was, so for anybody that might be looking for some type of a program, you could check them out. That's a shameless plug. They have no affiliation with the show. I just really enjoyed their workouts. I'm actually starting next week their 35-day body weight challenge. So It's just body weight, a lot of burpees, pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, bear crawls, running, that type of stuff. But it's alternative to just going to a gym and getting on the same machine or the same bench that you've been doing since you were in high school and you might have plateaued with. This is a different style. So there's a lot out there. It just takes a little bit of, research, like you said, and maybe $100, throw it into the sandbag and be done with it.
And you're done. I mean, I worked with the trainer a little bit when I was at the gym. I worked with the trainer a little bit, and he had me doing some stuff, and I was getting stronger, but I didn't feel like I was getting stronger where I needed to be. And once everything happened and I stopped going to the gym and just started training here at my house with a sandbag, I was like, oh, I'm now doing all of the movements that I do at all these events. And I feel like every time I do an event, I'm way better than I was before trying to do, a snatch
right
at the gym. Now I'm just carrying this stupid bag around everywhere I go, spinning it over my head, lunges with it, wood choppers, all this stuff. And so train as you fight, train as you fight. You're going to be carrying heavy bags. You're going to be doing running. Do those things. That's how you get in shape. And that way, at H3X, we had to do a burpee mile, which would, shocking. That's where I came up with that one. And so it was a 8 laps around was a mile. And unfortunately, I don't remember how much time we had, but I actually set the record with that one at 9 1/4 laps. And it's because of the event before that where I felt weak with burpees. So I decided at the end of every workout, I'm going to do 100 burpees. So now HTX comes along and they're like, hey, you have to do burpees for a mile. Okay. I mean, I do 100 every day now.
Right.
And it was like bang, 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 bang. And if you train like you fight, you'll win. And, you know, I see people on lap 2 and I'm already on lap 5. And God bless them. They're out there doing it. I never want to take that away from anybody. But it depends where you want to be in these events. And if you want to be at that top level, you got to do the stuff that sucks.
Yeah. And you mentioned, and you mentioned something earlier when we were talking about, I think it was one of the first ones that you tried to do, one of the longer ones, and you said you didn't have the right nutrition and you weren't hydrating properly. People leave that out of the equation sometimes, especially with the endurance type races. They don't eat properly the day before. They don't eat properly afterwards. They don't eat properly the month or 2 months leading up while they're training, and they don't hydrate properly. I know that's always one of my problems, is because while I'm doing an event, I don't really like to consume anything. And you have to get out of that because your body needs electrolytes. It needs water. You got to stay hydrated through these, especially these, you know, if you do 24 hours, you better be hydrated. You're not going to make it in 2 hours. And do you have any tips on the nutrition side and the hydration side of keeping yourself in the best kind of performance that you can be going into some of these events?
So I cut out everything now. I have a cup of tea in the morning, and then it's water all day. Every once in a while, I'll have some decaffeinated coffee just because I like the taste of it.
Mm-hmm. But like black,
maybe some sometimes. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, if I want a little sweet. But so it's water. And then I used to be like addicted to Gatorade, and I cut it out completely. But now on event day, on race day, I go back to the Gatorade, and it's like, you know, it's liquid calories. I'm getting my electrolytes, I'm getting some calories in. Mm-hmm. So I'll have a 3-liter hydration pack with water, and then I'm usually carrying an Nalgene bottle, 32 ounces of Gatorade, that I'll refill both of those depending on what the event is. And that has kept me, I've felt great the whole time with that. Okay. The key for me is that week before, you know, any of these like 24-hour plus events, prepping the day before or 2 days before, that's not going to really do it for you. You have to be so well hydrated going into this. And I'm the type of person that when I can flip a switch and I'm now into like event mode, food is nothing but fuel to me when that happens. When I'm not on, I love food, you know, give me everything I want.
Right.
But when it's event mode time, it's clean, bland. You know, I just need nutrition in my body, good, clean nutrition. So whether it's chicken, beef, brown rice, spinach, eggs, just clean food. And I'll do that, you know, 2 months leading into it. Some people love during events, they love like all the garbage food. My team assessment partner that we're going to be doing, he loves thin crust pizza with ham and pineapple. That's like, we just did a 24-hour on New Year's Eve, and he brought a large pizza with him. And like every time we got to break and go to our home base, you know, he'd eat a piece or two. And, you know, I'm eating like a honey stinger waffle. Like whatever works for you.
Right.
When it comes to that, you know, some people love that comfort food feeling. This was funny. I heard, I'm in a lot of different groups, and someone was saying during, before the H3X 24-hour, they all kept talking about Sour Patch Kids. Everyone loves Sour Patch Kids during these events. They're sweet, they're sour.
My daughter's favorite.
And I'm like, I guess, like I've had them, I like them, sure. So I bought a pack, and we had to do just this monster loop around. It was crab crawls for a third of a mile, then bear crawls for a third of a mile, and then run backwards for a third of a mile. We were doing that for about 4 hours. It was excruciating. but you got to break whenever you wanted. You could go, you could refuel or whatever. So I was like, all right, this is my Sour Patch Kid time. And I ate like 2 and I was like, yeah, those are pretty good. So I grabbed like 15, threw them in my mouth. Yeah, don't ever do that. Gelatinous bomb in your stomach. And I'm like, I still have about 10 hours left. And now I have this like Jello bomb in my gut. And everyone's like, no, you're supposed to have like 2 or 3. I'm like, okay, no one told me that. You all told me how great these were.
I tossed them all back.
Yeah, it was not good. So I've cut that out. If I want sweet, I'll bring like a banana.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's like my number 1. That is the best fuel I could ever have.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of the bananas during the races and stuff like that. For runs, I'll do like half a banana or something like that midway through or something if I have in my pack. During the Tough Mudders, always did bananas. But you got to remember the Tough Mudders, you're 2.5. You're not that long, so you're not stopping for a meal like you are at the 24 hour. You got to fuel that body for sustained activity, and not only activity, but you need to be at peak performance. So you have to give your body everything it needs. And like you said, it's not going to happen the day before. It's everything leading up to. That's all your prep. It's part of, just like training, your nutrition is part of your prep.
It is. And you feel, and all of this. So the physical training, the hydrating yourself, the nutrition, all of that leads to the mental game because you feel great.
Right.
You've been eating right, you've been hydrating, you've been training well. When you show up to an event, you're like, I got this. Barring any weird injury or something that may happen, like I've trained, I'm hydrated, I'm fueled, go. And that's part of what this whole DFQVR is about, is getting you into that mindset of getting that training done, being able to push yourself a little bit further than you thought you could. It gets you to that next level.
Yeah. And what else, something else that really helps with getting you to that next level is having that community around you. You talked about, running into the same people at these races and stuff like that. It happened to me all the time. But now we're doing virtual. So what are you doing to kind of build that community? Same kind of feeling. You talked about posting pictures, stuff like that. So you're still kind of building that feeling of being at one of these races. How's that working for you?
It's good. So we built everything off of Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, okay. Obviously, where you can truly grow a community, because Instagram's just a lot of reposting. So DFQVR has both a page and a group community. And the group community is where you can go in and you can post your pictures and you can have a conversation. You make you can ask a question, you can post a picture, whatever you want to do. And the rest of the community comes in, wear these shoes, try this sandbag, do whatever. And it's those little things that really start to open up that community. People always laugh about the, what shoes should I wear post. But have you seen how many comments are on them? There's 150 comments, because everyone has an opinion and you've helped. 150 different shoe options. You've confused the hell out of the person that asked. But at least now they know, don't go looking for penny loafers when I'm going to be running this.
Right.
I never knew, I had no idea what a Go Ruck was. And then at running Spartan, everyone started talking about, well, if you're going to use a pack, use a Go Ruck pack. And suddenly I'm signed up for pre-selections and team assessments. Just by that introduction and meeting those people. I have a Facebook group, like a group chat that I'm in of these people that I've done these hurricane heats with, and they're legitimate friends.
Yeah.
We've gone through some pretty hellacious things together, quite a few times. And it's something that my outside of endurance friends and family, they just can't understand. They don't know what it's like to drag 80 pounds on your hands and knees for 2 hours around a mile loop. And these guys were right next to you doing it, and you're laughing the whole time as you're getting bit by ants, you know, like.
And you're cheering each other on.
Yeah.
And you're not worried about who's going to come in first. You're worried about the guy getting through the next challenge or obstacle or whatever the case may be.
Oh, we would grab other, you know, you want me to grab the bag for you? You want me to carry this for you? You know, you got to run a little harder. This last one we just did was pretty phenomenal from a community standpoint. And that's really what we're looking to build at DFQVR is this, you can rely on me for anything. You know, when it comes to this type of training, whether it's nutrition, hydration, workouts, you know, just look, if you can reach out and get Ryan Atkins to respond to you on Instagram, who's, you know, the king of all of OCR, you can get me. You know, you can get this community to fill you in on tips.
Right. It's definitely, you know, most of this stuff training wise and stuff like that, people want to help you.
Yeah.
They really do. Because I've reached out to people, like I said, I was saying that I had some medical trouble. I had some heart attacks and, you know, young guy, I reached out to a lot of people about different types of training that I could do after trying to get back into stuff, because they were like, listen, you got to keep your heart rate at a certain place. You can't go overboard with this. You can't lift. You know, they didn't want any type of real strenuous lifting. I was running out of idea. Okay, now what's left?
You can't lift, you can't run.
Like, what do you got? So people were like, I try this, do this, you know, and slowly but surely I built it back up. And now, like I said, my cardiologist just said, yeah, you could train for the half marathon. We're in. All right. Awesome. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without all the people that were giving tips or just encouragement or whatever the case may be, helping me along. And people just want to help. They really do. So it's good to see that you have kind of built, because the virtuals are great, because you can kind of tailor them. You can do them when you want to. You know, if you're off this Saturday or you're off on a Monday, you could do that. But one of the things that you lose with the virtuals is actually being at an event, like you said, the hype man, the community, everybody being together and the rah, rah, rah. So if you do build that Facebook group and you do have an option for people to still have that, it makes the virtual event better and going to be more successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly different. This is in no way, I don't think any virtual company ever will try and say we're here to replace.
No.
Live events are awesome.
Yes, they are.
You know, I mean, they really are. They're so much fun. They push you to a different level. But boy, if you can do that on your own, if you can push yourself to complete these things on your own, when you get to that live event, where now you have, you know, your friends and your family and the hype man or whatever, like, you're going to destroy this thing. You're going to dominate this event. You've been doing it in your backyard for months with nothing. Now you have all of this excitement, all this adrenaline. You're going to kill it.
You're going to go nuts. And you're going to have fun doing it.
Exactly.
You're going to have a blast. So speaking of more fun, you talked about some of the stuff that might be coming up. You talked a little bit about the different tiers and some of the subscription models. Is there anything else that you might have on the horizon that you guys are thinking about doing? Are you thinking about ever doing some type of a live event? Are you looking at doing anything like that?
So the names have all been captured just in case. As of right now, no, I don't think we'll do anything live event wise. I think if we were to do something live event, I would probably go to Green Beret Fitness, who has trusted us with handling their virtual.
Right.
And I would return the favor and trust them. They put on some pretty amazing live events, and I would trust them to handle our live events. Mm-hmm. I think we're good focusing on the virtual side of it, but there is, you know, aside from like these tiered subscriptions, you know, another thing that we're about to be building out is not only are there the Legend series, but we want these Legends to create subscriptions as well.
Okay.
So if you respect and can appreciate what Rachel has done in her endurance career, she's actually going to create something for a year to put you on that path. Ronald Tortola, we have, he's about to release an endurance, a legend event, and he'll be doing the same thing. And, again, this is a multiple death race finisher, team assessment finisher, pre-selection finisher. Like these guys, they're no joke. They have put their body through some stuff. And those types of events, these subscriptions that they're building out are not the beat down like the 2-7 is. This is to get you to do the 2-7 and feel really good about it.
Right.
It's what they do to get where they are. So it's pretty exciting that, every month you basically get this program on how to get in shape and get strong, geared towards what you want, whether you're a beginner, whether you want to be able to complete something like a team assessment, or you just want to go have fun, running 5Ks.
Yeah.
There will be something for you.
That's awesome. And it's inclusive, so like you said, you're going to capture anybody at any level can just step onto the website, pick an event, and kind of roll, or pick a subscription and then roll. And like you said, kind of, tailor it to where you are in life and where you want to go. So it's a great model. I really like it.
Thank you. Yeah, we started with the harder, the little more pressing, because that's the world that I live in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my warm market. That's my group of friends. It's very easy for me to say, hey, go try this event that, Rachel's created, or this, go do a burpee mile. If I threw out there, today you're going to do 10 push-ups and run a mile and, do 3 pull-ups, my friends, my community would be like, come on, like,
what are you doing?
You want me to do what? Like, that's right. My warm-up. But there is a place for all of it. So we figured, let's start with what we know, and then expand out from there, bringing in a whole, a wide community of beginner to expert.
Right. And like you said, with some of these kind of legends that you have working with you, you're learning from people that have been through it, and you're learning from the best of the best. So those subscriptions, they're going to fly off the shelf, I think, as well.
They really are. They're so knowledgeable. I mean, they've been training for so long, and they've put in so much time. I mean, to do some of these events, you're sacrificing a year. Yeah. So to me, they're willing to take the time to create this for you. And like I said, they create the patches too. This is on them. Like, they're very proud of this because it touches. It's a part of them that's going out. This isn't just like some little marketing scheme where it's like I attach Rachel's name to it or whatever.
Right.
She did this. And, when she was doing pre-selection, I mean, the comments on all the live feeds were, go 2-7, 2-7's amazing. I mean, she was like the war cry.
Yeah, she's killing it. She's killing it.
And so to have her be gracious enough to create an event for people of, this is what I go through, this is what it's like in my world for 2 hours. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you get to step inside it. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, how do people find out more information? How do, I'm a guy, I'm sitting on the couch right now, I'm listening to the podcast, and I say, I want to do this. I want to take my training to the next level. I want to get involved in this. What's the best way to get involved and get more information?
So easiest way is to just go to the website, DFQVR.com. And from there, you just go to the events page and you can explore. You can see all the events that we have. More are always coming out. And, as I mentioned, subscription models are going to be coming. So you'll have all of that. If you like Facebook, DFQVR will bring up both the community and the group page. As I mentioned earlier, the page is really where it's more just like us posting, hey, there's a new event out or whatever. So that's good to follow just so you can keep getting updates. The community is where it's the community sharing their stories.
Right.
And then Instagram is the same as well, at DFQVR.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I really hope people kind of just reach out and get involved in this stuff. I have my eye on the puzzle one because I think that's really cool. And I could incorporate that into my training right now because it fits in nicely. Even the distance does. So I'll be looking at that puzzle one. I think that one's got my name written all over it. And I have a puzzle. I have a Star Wars puzzle that my wife got me. And I think I'm going to use that one.
I mean, it's like, it's a fun little thing where it just gets you out there.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of fun. And like you said, don't fucking quit. Just get in it, enjoy it, and finish it. You know, don't fucking quit. I love it. I love the name. I'm very happy for you guys. We spoke actually before you even launched. We kind of connected on Instagram and we were waiting for the launch to do the interview. And, you know, I'm glad we were able to sit down and talk because, you know, there's a lot that's going to be coming out and I'll hopefully be very involved.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And good luck with everything, man.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. You have a good one.
You too.